Welcome back everyone. Today we're reading Tumblr because I want to. Crabs are so gentle. They can be so kind. Their claws, precise little things. So careful in the sand. So careful with food. They do what they must to live and wave their claws to express their joy to the world for giving so much to them. For giving such kindness to these creatures known as crabs. Please be gentle to crabs. I was on a new sleep medication last night. My boyfriend is a trans bear and he's genuinely the hottest man I've ever met. This is like a rich person showing a poor person a stack of $100 bills. Yeah, share, Jevelcore. Come on, I want some too. If Bastard kidnapped my wife, I would not be saying woohoo, no matter how much fun the jump was. What's this wife business? Nobody calls him Prince Consort, Mario. If Bastard kidnapped my plumbing client, I would be saying woohoo, as long as those hours were billable. Considering he's collecting gold coins, which are in fact one of the main currencies in the games, chances are it's less the hours are billable and more he's just getting absolutely loaded based off the mission. Plus he's getting famous from rescuing her, and honestly, it seems like a pretty good deal. Especially because Bowser's genuinely pretty nice, all things considered. For a guy that's kidnapping someone anyway. Slapping modeling clay around blindly without thought or purpose, I look down and find a perfectly sculpted replica of myself seated at a table with the lump of modeling clay before me, similarly shaped into a still smaller instance of the same scene, and I am afraid to look up. Well, great, now I'm scared. My insulin fell out of the fridge, and my kid put it back in the freezer by mistake, and thereby destroyed, and insurance won't replace it, so that's $800. Which luckily I have, because if I didn't, I'd simply die. Which is what happened to one of my students. So time to get to work. Just a reminder that Frederick Bennington, which I'm probably incorrect on pronouncing, discoverer of the process of synthesized insulin, sold the patent for $1 because it was so important to him that it be widely available and easily mass-produced. Yes, you should be angry. It's actually a similar effect to diamonds where it's not that rare and it's just because certain people hold all the ability to make it that we have to pay so much. Except, you know, a diamond doesn't decide whether or not you live or die. Yay! Don't invite me anywhere last minute. I enjoy doing nothing, so I need to know ahead of time if my plan to do nothing needs to be changed. This is legit and people don't realize it. Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Oh great, so you're available. No, you don't understand. I'm doing nothing. I'm doing nothing actively. It's important. You know, you guys could just call it rest and people would understand a lot better. Nothing has a negative connotation. If you say you're doing nothing, people act like you are actively looking for something to do. If you say rest, people understand a lot quicker. Animal abuse is wrong. And if you need me to tell you that, then I'm glad I told you that. One thing I'm quite grateful to Brian David Gilbert for is the phrase, if you needed me to tell you that, I'm glad I told you that. It has been etched into my brain for the past 6 years, fundamentally altering how I consider knowledge gaps held by others as well as myself. People usually need to be told stuff before they can know it. That's how knowing stuff works. This is an extreme example played up for laughs, but it's a legitimately helpful philosophy. To add to this is usually what I'm referring to when I say kids aren't stupid, they just don't know anything. Which, again, you know, exaggeration, but the point stands. It's less you can't know and more nobody's told them. Quit your job, join my band of mercenaries. How's the dental? Oh, well, I mean, you can have all the teeth you can carry. It's pretty good dental, actually, I'm in. Room for one more? Do you clean your lint trap every time you use the dryer? Yes. No, I didn't know you were supposed to do this. No, I know you're supposed to, but I don't care enough to do it every time / at all. I don't use a dryer. Fun fact, I told off my husband for not cleaning the lint trap and he got mad at me and said he always cleans it. And when I showed him the lint trap uncleaned, he got quiet and said, I didn't know that was there. But before I got too smug, I asked him what he thought was the lint trap, and he showed me a second lint trap I didn't know about. It was the most net zero argument ever. Net zero? I feel like if anything it was net gains. That's great. You both learned something new. Neither of you were proven wrong or right. You both have learned, like, this is pure benefit. The frick you mean net zero? I guess, like, you didn't win over him, but the point wasn't to be better. It was to know and have yourself be heard. That's the whole point of these conversations. Also, that's a dangerous design for them to have two lint traps and not make it easy for you to recognize they're both there. Because if one of them clogs, that's it. That's going to be a problem, whether you've cleaned the other one or not. Trans misogyny is insane. I was talking to this teacher who has a trans girl in her district and was mentioning how said girl wanted to be in the girls' bathroom for changing, for PE, etc. We both agreed that it would be incredibly unsafe for her to have to change with the boys. But as soon as we got onto the topic of the other girl, suddenly she, the other teacher, could not comprehend at all that the only girl whose safety would be at risk in the locker room is the trans one, because of the potential bullying plus sexual harassment from other girls. Absolute instant blind spot to the phenomenon you otherwise acknowledge because you think the prevalence of a penis is violent. And because said blind spot is believed, all the girls who want to bully and or sexually harass this trans girl feel justified in doing so. Because they're basically being told by the only authority that they are. Yeah, there's a reason why it's really, really important that we have gender neutral and non-binary accepting spaces. Chat, are we cooked? Not if I can help it. Shout to one of the doctor who responded with complete sincerity when I, on anesthesia, uttered the phrase, "Chat, are we cooked?" in her medical professional vicinity. You're such a real one for that, for real, for real. Are we gonna pretend like doctors don't hear wild stuff when people are on basically any form of drug? I'm sorry, but doctors hear some pretty wild stuff. Claiming "Chat, are we cooked?" There's no way that was the first time. When life gives you lemons. False. Lemons are a hybrid of a bitter orange and a citron, meaning we gave ourselves lemons. Hey, yeah, I have big news about like 85% of our problems. Think about when my brother got chat banned from Overwatch, and the email they sent him after he tried to appeal it said, "We don't normally bring up the incriminating messages, but in this case we feel it's necessary to show you what you got banned." And it was stuff like, "I will kidnap you in the desert and make you forget how to eat." I mean, yeah, threats get you banned. The real question is, why do they not normally include the incriminating messages? That seems like something you should include so that way the person can understand what they are not allowed to do. Like, that's really annoying when any form of social media really blocks you and refuses to tell you why. Or, like, incredibly vague about it. Like, that's just really annoying. Open roleplay. Hey, can I get 7 large Cokes and a barbecue sauce? Is Pepsi okay? I guess, I said, sulking. My amber-hued orb was peering down because of gravity. Okay, I hand you 7 large Cokes and a Pepsi. Black Friday is such a joke nowadays. Don't miss out on 30% off. Don't piss me the frick off. People used to hit each other over the head for a microwave. That's how low the prices were. People literally died. We used to be a country. 6-year-old asked me why I don't like Mr. Beast, and I didn't have an answer that a small child could understand. So I said he tried to eat a homeless person a long time ago. Spreading misinformation to children because you don't believe they're mature enough to understand a topic is actually not a good thing. Like, at all. It's true though, he ate that homeless person up. He went yum yum, and that stuff, it was brutal. Kids tend to have less of an issue where they're not mature enough to understand a topic, and it's more so no one has taken the time to explain said topic. In this case, I think you can either fold and be like, oh no, Mr. Beast is great, I'm not entertained by him is all. Or you actually take your time to walk through why you're not a fan of him. Cars went past me while I'm going 10 miles per hour below the speed limit in the slow lane. Excuse me, don't mean to be a bother, just need to get past you real quick. Cars went past me while I go 10 miles per hour above the speed limit in the fast lane. Get out of my way, Jack. I paid for the whole speedometer. I'm going to use the whole speedometer. Boom, boom. Kids, when you're choosing your college schedule, you hear a voice saying, just take the 8 a.m. class. It won't be that bad. You've done it for so long. That's the devil talking. I will never take a 8 a.m. class again. Heck, I won't even do a 9 a.m. That's torture. It's mostly because you stay up really late in college and it's kind of expected that you would. Not just for the whole partying culture stuff, but also because you just get a lot of homework. But what is a first banana? Having parents who aren't as bad as they used to be is crazy, because they'll be sitting there doing some normal stuff and you'll be like Kubrick staring at them. Parents love to try and get better once you're past the age of being a stable parent. In their defense, they are usually new to it at that point, which is just really unpleasant for everyone if we're being honest. To be fair to Willy Wonka, at least a couple of those candy factory casualties involved kids deliberately circumventing reasonable safeguards, sometimes aided and abetted by the parents who were supposed to be supervising them. What happened is at most 60% his fault. Oompa loompa doopity dare, the court finds you breached your duty of care. Oompa loompa doopity disc, that's what the court calls assumption of risk. Oompa loompa doopity doo, only a partial judgment for you. Oompa loompa doopity doubt, the rest of the class action lawsuit is hereby bum bum thrown a D out. The power of a bowl of rice mixed with some frickin' BS cannot be overstated. I saw a TikTok with a concerning 500,000 likes claiming that issues in dating men stem from the fact that all the good men died in World War II, and we're stuck with the draft dodgers. All the classic "there's no masculine men left" and "men used to go to war" comments too. I understand World War II is deeply romanticized, but holy, like the various mass forcing yourself upon others by the Allies sort of proved that maybe the soldiers themselves weren't exactly the best of us, even if their cause of killing Nazis is noble. Hilariously, in the comments, they also claimed that the soldiers were glorious, women-respecting liberals, and the anti-war men are all conservative, and that's why conservatism is on the rise. It's curious to see how many people claiming to be progressive always find a way to dress up patriarchal norms and misinformation and insults to pretend their preference for a benevolent patriarch isn't ruining any problematic biases rooted within them. Homes with this indicator outside them imply the possibility of high-level loot, secured by ADT. Break in. When I was in high school, I would switch these around my neighborhood at night just to frick with the neighbors. I don't think some of them noticed, but others put up extra cameras. One house I kept stealing the sign from, and they would replace them, and when I had like 8 signs, I put them all back at once. I had no reason for doing it, and I blame it on undiagnosed autism. You can't get this anywhere else. Special thanks to Willow, our glass sailor,